Welcome to Contact Has Begun, brought to you by the grace of the World Puja Network, one of the last vestiges of truth concerning benevolent, spiritually and technologically advanced off-world visitors. Some refer to these visitors as our greater family of man or returning ancient ancestors. I am James Gilliland, your host, and our guests also include cutting-edge physicists, authors, teachers, and healers dedicated to the awakening and healing of humanity and the earth. Let the journey begin.
Greetings. I'm James Gilliland, your host, and we've got some crazy things going on. I hope you've been paying attention to the Soho site and the solar activity. We've got a massive X-class flare bearing down on us as we speak, and I think it was released Friday morning, and it's very geo-effective, aimed directly at the Earth. And if you're feeling some crazy energy in the past few days, some of us feel it right in the beginning when the X-rays and gamma rays go off. You know, we feel it about 8 minutes after the event if you're sensitive, and it gets pretty crazy out there. So anyway, these X-class flares are pretty intense, and the Earth is just getting hammered by M-class and X-class flares. They're coming in on a regular basis, and it's affecting the bioelectric fields around the human body. A lot of people are in process. Some people are having emotional outbursts. Some people are getting very lethargic. All kinds of things are going on. So anyway, heads up on that, and be very, very careful out there. You know, pay attention to what you're doing. If you feel like you need to lay down and relax, lay down and relax. If you feel like you need to go scream at the woods or the forest or whatever, go scream at the forest. You know, whatever you feel like you need to do, let this energy pass through you, because it's going to be very intense. These energy waves coming through the Earth are also activating the astral levels, and the veils between worlds are becoming very thin. So there's a lot of unseen negative influences people aren't aware of that are having their day right now, and they're being activated as well because their time is up. So it's not too far away, you know, for this to be coming in. But it's going to get really interesting in the next few days, I guarantee you. Now, there's another situation coming up too. I wanted to give people a quick update on the court case. We actually went through the last hearing, and the judge recused himself again. So that's 3 judges and I think 2 prosecuting attorneys, and you know, 1 quit. And we don't know what's going on with these guys, but it's getting beyond ridiculous, and it's just a blatant misuse of the judicial process, and you know, harassment and barratry now. So it's gone beyond ridiculous, and we're still having to deal with that. It should have been thrown out on the first case because they don't have a case, but county is still trying to create problems, and they would love to see ECETI shut its gates, but that's not going to happen because there is a divine decree, you might say, for this place to stay open and continue to serve humanity and the earth. You know, it's you're kind of messing with the highest forces on the planet. But anyway, we will continue to hang in there. I wanted to bring on a lot of guests just to let people know what's happening here at ECETI lately. John Kelly's been putting on some amazing footage here. The past week, we have just filmed ship after ship, power-ups, turns, multiple ships, 4 ships in 1 frame, 3 ships, doubles coming in and powering up. Just crazy activity in the sky right now. And so the skies are extremely active over ECETI, and you know, it's basically it's just going to continue. I know it's not going to stop. So this is all going to escalate all the way up till the big event, you know, 2013, all the way through. So you know, it's buckle up, you know, because these solar flares are going to create erratic weather changes, crazy thunderstorms, high winds. Increase in volcanic activity, earthquake activity, and you know, a lot of economic, social, and physical earth changes. So, you know, keep your eyes up and make your own personal connection with spirit and pay attention, because, you know, we are on a ride, and we all chose this ride. So I want to go to our field here and see if we can bring in some of the guests that have been here at ECETI and talk about some of their experiences here at the ranch. See if we can connect into our field office in the field of
James,
dreams.
It's John Kelly.
Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Great to be with you.
I was just mentioning your name, considering the filming you've been doing here and the compilations that you've been putting together, and I'd love for you to talk about that, just some of the activity that's been going on.
Well, there's been an abundance of activity, and it's been amazing for all of us who were there to witness and film together, all of our spotters, all of our camera operators, all the different people who make a great Skywatch happen, and with, of course, a little friendly help from the skies as well. We had a lot of incidents of contact, visual contact sightings, seeming even communications. It's many different things happening out there, just over a period of a few hours and even into the wee hours of the morning. There were several different types of anomalous sightings that caught my attention. We like to study the satellite tables, the tracking tables that are made public as part of our due diligence, just in order to make sure that we're paying attention to the objects that are expected to appear. And there can be numerous satellites that can be in the skies over Trout Lake on a clear night. But then we're looking for the objects that behave in remarkable ways, but they don't appear on the satellite tracking tables. They can't be explained as conventional known satellites. And when their behaviors start to look like they're communicating with the people on the ground, they're responding to a ground-based light signal, for example, we really feel that we're getting beyond the idea that this is something as part of our human society, and it's really something from another society, and we need to lift this veil of ignorance, in the face of these experiences, these evident experiences that are captured with instruments and backed by the testimony of multiple witnesses year after year at the ECETI Ranch. We need to get active on lifting the veil of ignorance in our society that says these things aren't happening, these people are hallucinating or don't know what they're looking at. It's not that difficult. James Gilliland, you've always said that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to make sense out of some of these things. Just need a little bit of experience and maybe someone to guide you to get you through the first steps. But it's evident to everybody on the field that something is going on, and that's very exciting. It's been happening here at ECETI for years. I've been visiting the ranch for a while now, and I know that you've had thousands of people here, all witnessing different kinds of phenomena. It's not going away. The issue is still hitting home with the people who see it, and I think that we need to start, as a society, incorporating the idea that this kind of contact is going on, and that there's a future that involves contact. Our society is going. More people are going to be having these kinds of experiences. So the different types of UFOs, or extraterrestrial spaceships that we're witnessing, exhibit different behaviors. Most significantly, the light patterns that come off of them don't resemble anything that the FAA might have regulated, or perhaps a military vehicle like a jet fighter might have exhibited. Rather, they behave in very strange ways. Huge, low-flying lights close to the horizon, for example, traveling away from the setting sun, exhibiting, constant lighting. Massive lights, evocative of what people call the Yakima lights in the famous studies that were published and investigated through people commissioned by Dr. J. Allen Hynek in the 1970s. The mountain lights that we see here that were still perplexing many of us, and remarkable displays, from the summit of Mount Adams in the middle of the night, where people 13 miles away can see an incredible beam of light coming off the summit of the mountain. I mean, it's like a scene out of The Lord of the Rings, except it's happening here in real life. All of these kinds of phenomena are happening here. Pairs of objects, triplets of objects, photographic frames that show 3 or 4 objects in the frame all at once. Well, there's some satellites expected over the ECETI Ranch, it's true. But that many objects? How could you have that many objects in the sky? So many that clusters of 3 or 4 at a time could be captured in one photographic frame. I continue to be amazed by what I see and record here, James, and the legacy you've left with all of your research and time in the field, and opening the door, the possibilities that these sightings and contacts represent. It's really paved the way for someone like me to come in and spend the nights taping, reviewing the images, debating their merits with my colleagues who are here at the ranch, and just having an awesome time. So if I haven't said this before, James. Thank you again to you, your family, and your staff for all the great experiences that you've made possible here. And I look forward to continuing to visit the ranch and study here with you.
Well, great. Thanks for coming on the show. And it's just been awesome having you out here in the field, catching all this activity. And I know every once in a while I'll miss something and you'll get it, and you might miss something and I'll get it. And when we combine all of our footage together, we capture, and especially with that new technology you have, that all-sky, we're hoping to get the Orion all-sky set up here, and have to invest in some more equipment so we can actually film. And we miss, I bet you we miss 98% of the activity flying over the ranch. And so what we do have is just phenomenal, and it's probably 2% of what's happening here.
It's hard. It's hard even with the best spotters to catch 100%. But with teamwork and, as you said, with some strategic equipment, it's like having eyes in the back of your head, and you will capture more objects more frequently with an all-sky type camera.
Oh yeah, and definitely have a longer filming time. And actually you could do it 24/7 with that and catch a lot of daylight footage as well.
Absolutely. I want to see more of the kinds of color images that we've seen posted to the ECETI.org website from local people, from the people riding their mountain bikes, and getting those amazing captures. Just a beautiful setting here, and it's so mysterious. We know about the lore, about the ideas about extraterrestrials having bases in the area, even inside of Mount Adams. And when we see objects that are either doing their most dramatic displays as they approach Mount Adams, or seem to emerge from the mountain, like that amazing shot you got last year from that object that flew down the mountain and across the Field of Dreams. It really opens the avenues in the mind. We go, there's something more than just mountain, hikers on the mountain, or tourists, or people driving cars on mountain highways out here. There's more sources of light and more mystery. I continue to be I continue to be overwhelmed by the things that happen here on a frequent basis in terms of the light phenomena, the contact again. It's just amazing.
Well, what's nice is that, the mountain up to the tree level, basically, there are no roads there. And I know where the roads end up there. I mean, I can see the formations here that you look up to from where the roads end on the right side. And there are no roads up there, and it's wilderness area, and you can't have any kind of a vehicle up there, or you're in big trouble. So, it's pretty much a no-brainer. And you see these lights traversing all over the mountain, going straight over cliffs, huge lava cliffs and glaciers and things like that. I don't know, if you go up in that area and you see what these lava cliffs look like and the lava fields that these things are moving across, there is no vehicle that could do that. It would have to be some kind of a anti-gravity or a major hovercraft. Nothing else could actually get across that terrain and not just be... It's
very rugged. You've shown me the footage that was taken with one of the ECETI family, with his small craft, Brent, I believe, had flown a couple of the ECETI team members up by Mount Adams, and I see those shots and those jagged cuts in the rocks, and how treacherous many of the approaches are to the mountain. There are safe ways for hikers to get up there, but it looks extremely primitive otherwise, and I can't begin to imagine any kind of heavy vehicle traversing those crevices and moving through those rocks. It's just not a lot of foothold. There's a lot of danger, and so the thought of someone operating a piece of heavy equipment up in those conditions in the middle of the night is really kind of beyond believable to me.
Yeah. They better have an anti-gravity cat or backhoe, because that's the only way you could do it.
Well, I mean, what insurance company would even cover that kind of an operation? Me and my team, we want to haul 20 tons of equipment up the side of a mountain in the middle of the night, and we want you to insure it. Is that all right? You sign off on that?
Definitely wouldn't happen.
I don't think I just don't think. I think that the skeptical, in other words, the skeptical arguments begin to sound more and more irrational in the face of the evidence, and particularly when you yourself are in the experience, those arguments lose all of their glamour. And this is what this sort of brings us to a topic that's maybe close to you, James, as someone who's been on a touring circuit, who's spoken to many large audiences specializing in the UFO topic. And there's a difference between there's almost a cosmic distance or gap between the podium and the field of dreams, in a sense. When it's happening for real, when we're all shoulder to shoulder and having the experience together. I don't know if someone who's just a UFO skeptic standing at a microphone in front of an audience can really summon the same kind of clarity or perception and bring that shed light on that issue in the same way as someone who's just out there in the field of dreams, shoulder to shoulder with the other skywatchers, having a collective contact. I really find that kind of learning is more informative.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree 100%. Hey, well, thanks a lot for coming on the show, and thanks for all the good work you're doing, and I'll see you out in the field a little later.
Great to be with you, James. Thanks again so much.
All right, take care. Looks like we got another guest on. I'm not sure who our mystery guest is.
Hey, James, it's Greg here.
Hey, Greg, welcome.
Thanks for having me tonight, and it's great to be back to ECETI here.
Before we go further, I wanted to talk about, you've got JCETI, which is a Japanese version of ECETI over in Japan, and and you bring a lot of Japanese people over here who are having just amazing experiences. I'd love for you to cover some of that or some of the things that have happened that you've seen out in the field along with the Japanese folks that have been here.
My pleasure. Well, this time we're here again on a short tour from Japan, and basically when we pulled out, it's like we're having close encounters with ECETI itself. Every time we come, something new happens, and we just keep cutting deeper and deeper. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. The first time I was here, it was just for a period of about 3 hours, but that turned into being a kernel of a seed, which has now blossomed into, like you said, this JCETI project in Japan with contact events going on there. And when we came up to Trout Lake 2 days ago, we had a formation in the clouds that almost looked like Mount Fuji. It was like an inversion in the clouds, almost like a wink from the sky there. And, just feeling the expanse of the landscape as usual, and this time the real distinct, character of the vortex energy, was just unmistakable. I think we're just a couple of weeks after the big seminar, and when we first came on Thursday night, it was an excellent night of activity with just crystal clear sky and a lot of power-ups and a whole ton of the satellite type, slow-moving craft that John just was mentioning, and I think we all had a lot of collective sightings, and again feeling that back and forth, which is so distinct. That's what makes the difference in my mind between when you're just looking at a dead object like a satellite or something man-made, and then the conscious connection with these ET craft and the other phenomena coming around that are involved with the other realms, the ascended masters or whatnot, and the nature spirits on site.
Mm-hmm.
But and then our guest here, we've had the last time we were out was at the end of September last year, and we've had a lot of those people, especially the ones who went ahead and tried, the TPR session, transpersonal release healing. They've had continued interesting developments with their main teacher and guides, and it's interesting to see the people who want to get deeper in this topic. They take it upon themselves, and I think the self-mastery element is key for people to understand. The guy we're here with now, he has a real great spirit of kind of trying to teach those around him. But as we talked about this morning, there is a limit to how far you can actually change someone's mind. And I know personally, having these experiences, you really do want the people close to you to at least somewhat understand them.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about all the different psychological aspects and all the things that go on, even when we're not in the field. It's such a deep, there's so many levels that this ET contact subject touches on, whether it's, social levels or consciousness levels or psychological levels, and then, of course, all the spiritual elements.
Well, he has a great photo to take back with him after his transpersonal release session.
Exactly,
Yeah, we took a photograph of him, and he has this big beam of light coming out of his third eye. are sitting right on his third eye. So, I mean, that's going to be hard to explain when he takes that back to his friends and says, "Hey, look at this."
I think he's on taking a big step this time, and I'm impressed. And we feel like we're in a totally. The last time we were here was during a seminar, so that had its own flavor. But this time we're in the totally experiencing all the kind of classic elements of ECETI and other things it has to offer. So besides even just the night skywatches. And I just want to comment and thank you again, James, for all the the excellent remote sessions. I mean, this is something that really, you almost, as you and John have every night, with the cameras rolling, this is helping to convince people and the skeptics. But we're experiencing a large wave of people who are already past their doubts, and what are we going to do next together? We're already in July. It's 2012. The skeptics are just going to get left behind, and we're ready for the next step here. We're going deeper, and basically, that is a closer contact. And working with these guys is, I think, a big, that's something that's been going on in tandem, I think, with the work outside, and it really is amazing the stuff that happens when they do step in and people open the door to their higher self and these and the spirit guides and the ET guides. And we've experienced a lot of people in trouble, sort of on the astral level, getting beat up on the astral levels in Japan lately, and just even with the remote sessions, even me getting involved on a just translating level, I feel the energy just through the phone like crazy, and people are really helping to sort of change the channel and get out of the whirlpool of sort of confusion and doubt and the emotional attachments that these kind of lower and unenlightened beings tend to cling on to and manipulate. But I think since we've come into June, it's been really a big push to clear up those astral levels, and I've been talking a lot in Japan about the difference between the higher dimensional frequency and then everything below it. And unfortunately, everyone, whether it's ghosts or kind of those kind of lower, those kind of discarnate spirits that have been mistaken for ET or space type phenomenon. I think what I usually say is the world of the unseen is now finally, we're able to actually define all these things more and more as the ascension process and as people's awareness expands, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I always tell people with an expanded awareness comes a greater responsibility to heal and clear what is within it. Mm-hmm. And so it is so important. There's an old saying, just because you're dead doesn't mean you're enlightened, and just because you're an ET doesn't mean you're benevolent. So we have to maintain our own self-authority and live according to universal law, and realize that there's a lot of energies you can call on to manipulate others and overpower others and things like that, but eventually they end up owning you and manipulating and overpowering you. So it's very important to realize that love is the ultimate power, and love serves. It serves people. It doesn't control or manipulate or it's not an aggressive againstness energy.
Right. I think experiencing that experience is totally open at the ranch. And again, I said it just before I actually even spent a lot of time here or even met you in person. I literally just did a touch and go 3 hours and made that direct connection, and it's only gotten deeper since, and it just surprises me how people who have kind of linked up to something in between, something that wasn't that pure, and it's surprising the difference in their behavior or the intentions behind what they're doing, Mm-hmm. So it's great to have this kind of stable reference here always at Mount Adams to share energy with other people, and those in Japan that we're meeting who can't quite make it over due to work commitments or whatever. We've been the TPR sessions over the phone have been of great use for people, as well as getting translations of the clearings and as I become more sensitive, I can feel the difference, and I've walked into places that have had these disincarnate spirits, and they'll spin right into the solar plexus, and before, I think we all have this happen, but we we don't know why the body starts to feel bad, or we don't know why we're out of energy. But once you start to be able to really connect and hold that higher frequency, anything else feels bad. So you want to always be able to stay on the better foot, so to speak. So the tools that you've put out in the books are of extreme importance and extreme help, and they're definitely in Japan is the spiritual scene, or the people who are dabbling in this stuff or starting to dip their feet in the water have, in many cases, unfortunately, gotten into the game of charlatan type of information, or all the stuff that sort of has been sort of wrong with the New Age scene up until now. That's to me, it's almost like a magical war. The dark elements have sort of done that, and they've sort of perverted the true spiritual practices on purpose. And now, whether you talk about crystals or power stones, most regular people they just think of that as suspicious and highly doubtful. But then the same with UFOs. But I think we're finally coming up to an extremely important turning point where people are going to not be able to deny that anymore, and the wrongs, so to speak, will be righted in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I definitely agree. Yeah, it's I can't thank you enough for actually taking the information here at ECETI and creating JCETI over there, and bringing all those wonderful people over there in Japan to connect in and actually do the remote clearing sessions, long distance and things. And it's I think it's been wonderful for all concerned, basically, and I know you've watched the changes in them and how the information was kind of shocking to them when their books were read,
Right.
And they go, yeah, that's exactly when that happened, and so. Yeah. But
it's quite... That's exactly right. The readings that come out as a result of the clearings have been unbelievably accurate, and even with people who I know quite well, it's amazing to see how concisely the elements of the elements that come out after the clearing regarding the past life and all the connections to this life are always spot on. Mm-hmm. So people are and it's also all this contact, I think, and also the people that we're meeting. It's also very serendipitous, and luckily we've been meeting the people who really are sort of resonating most with this information. We've met a lot of them right off the bat, so I feel like there's been a real guidance to the JCETI project as well. So I'm sure those seeds were all planted here in this field of dreams. So it's been excellent to just watch it unfold, and then we're also starting to do a little more filming. And last year when I was here talking to John a lot about the night vision scope and how he has his setup going, and we just had a few great events down in Okinawa where there's been amazing contact. I'm feeling there is a large undersea ET base near the main island. Obviously, there's a big U.S. military presence in Okinawa, but the sheer distance from the mainland is another sort of proof that, the same as Mount Adams, that the farther you are from the city, the easier it is for these ETs to kind of show up and communicate with people. It's the cities are a sort of unfortunately, it's a mess of the consciousness fields are not quite in order with so many people and their different emotional states and whatnot. But as you get away from that and connect more into nature, whether it's the mountains around here or near the ocean and in the middle of the ocean out in the middle of Okinawa there in the Pacific, we've had some amazing close contact and literally just craft sitting across the bay there just in plain sight for over an hour, And like I said, again, to finalize, it's almost like they're saying, well, what's next? Are you guys ready for the next step? It's been great. We're looking forward to more developments as we go on this year.
Great. Hey, well, thanks for coming on the show, and keep up the good work there at JCETI, and hopefully you can take back a lot of footage and a lot of incredible photographs with you as well.
Thanks a lot, James. Okay, I'll pass you on here.
All right.
Hold on.
Sounds like Ryan.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Oh, welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know you've been sitting out in the field with us till the wee hours in the morning filming these ships and having some pretty phenomenal experiences. And you've got some pretty incredible footage yourself of orbs on your iPhone interacting with you and just all kinds of crazy photographs. But, I'd love to hear your take on, some of your experiences here at ECETI and what you've seen out in the field.
Wow. Yeah, James, where to start, man? Where to start, right? This week. How great has this week been, by the way? The conditions have been perfect.
Yeah.
Last night, I guess we saw multiple power-ups, probably double-digit objects in the sky, and it was a slow night. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been an incredible week. But to speak of the orbs, the second night I was here. Well, the second night I was in the house from the yurt. I turn on my phone and go through the protocols. Some of the stuff you taught me it's in the Reading Resource book and the stuff I learned at the self-mastery that I did with you at 09. And I turn it on, and I just had to, I'm used to getting orbs, right? I film them all over the country. But this one in particular was special because it come up and just interacted with with me and everything, but it was so bright. And I am not used to seeing them quite that bright. And that was really cool. That was like the second night I was in the house, I suppose. And we've got that, and then we've got this week. Where do we start, James? Really, where do we start? Do we talk about the low-flying object that me and John saw Wednesday night? Low, slow, looked like it came up the side of the mountain, right?
Yeah.
Low and slow and bright. And I think John filmed it for 4 or 5 minutes. And,
yeah.
Or do we talk about the race? Remember the race?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the two big bright ones that came in.
Back and forth,
yeah,
right? Like they were racing one another, right?
I thought it was interesting. Those two that came in, they were like racing, and all of a sudden one overtook the other. They were flying together. One overtook the other and took the front. And then another object appeared in front of it, and it took off after that and turned and followed it, was right on its tail. And then another object went zipping across the bow of it. So I thought that was fascinating, watching all those 4 objects, doing all kinds of maneuvers up there. And what would you say to the armchair investigator that's going, oh, those are just satellites or meteors or the, the Seth Shustaks of the world that are out there saying there are no ships, there is no evidence, there's no, we're still trying to pick up their radio waves, even though they definitely would not even be using a radio because they couldn't even contact their ships. They're flying beyond the speed of the radio, so the radio waves.
What would I say to them? Man.
Got to keep it clean now, no cussing.
I think the obvious first thing we say to them is get your tail here and have your own experience. You can look at it on YouTube or whatever and armchair it and debunk it all day long. But you come here and you look up in these skies and you see what we've seen this week. There's something wrong with you if you don't think there's something amazing going on here. And I'll tell you what I do with them, James. When I get one, and I've had several with my videos that I have, you know what I do? I take them and I wait till night. I let them look over my shoulder. I turn my phone on. I call them in using the techniques you taught me in self-mastery. And I change them, right? I turn them over, because you can't deny it when you have your own experience. Once that happens, it's over, All the denying is just done. That's what I do. I'll get somebody in a room, turn on my phone, go through the protocol you taught me, and 9 times out of 10 they come up, interact with the phone and me and the other person, and they're turned over. So that's what I do with them.
We actually filmed some of the transpersonal release sessions with a special technology they call PIP technology that shows the energy coming into the room. And in each case, this giant whirlwind or tornado of energy would come into the room, this beautiful golden energy, and then everybody would pixel out. Everybody's all of a sudden they would just turn into like a light body. It was amazing, and that's how the healings occur. There's spontaneous healings, but every time, a different group would come in, like Mary's energy would come in with this beautiful pink little whirlwind would come in, and everybody's bodies would just turn pink, like pink light bodies. It was amazing with this technology. So I don't know, after seeing that, how anybody could argue, that there isn't an extreme energy change and shift that happens. And you can see the effects of it with the technology.
Oh yeah, it's happening here, and that's a good point. It's not just the ships in the sky. I remember when I was here in '09, it was really cloudy, right? So we didn't get a lot of days like we have now. Like I've gotten this last trip. I've been here for a while, and but you know what I mean. So there's other things going on here. So last time I focused on kind of what you just brought up, right? Those kind of things, the stuff we learned in the self-mastery classes. The stuff that you teach and stuff like that in the resource book and everything. So we weren't focused as much on the sky last time. So, I'm getting this time. I'm getting the ship stuff this time. You know what I mean? Where last time, some of the other phenomena that you're talking about, like with Mary and that golden energy of Ezekiel, right? It's a call sign. Yeah. Close my eyes in this place. Literally meditate and see that rolling golden light. You know what I mean? And it's just undeniable once you come here and have your own experience.
Yeah, and it's even photographed. I mean, we've had monks come up here, and people from all walks of life have come up here and gotten their own photographs. And Khan's, who's a Taoist monk, basically his photographs are phenomenal of Ezekiel's energy, Mary's energy, the felines, the 6-dimensional feline beings that appeared, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and the people phasing out here, and I think that's interesting when people actually phase out.
Yeah, I've witnessed that firsthand too. There's a picture of you showing your in your slides and stuff that your presentation you did here this year, and one of those pictures you were showing someone phasing out, and I can attest to that because I was sitting right across from that lady when she was doing that, and she was just hot, like her body was really hot. You could tell, like really warm. And her face just got really red, and I mean, she was literally phasing out. So I had firsthand experience of that one, so that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think it's incredible when you see them, and all of a sudden you see the chair, and you see a faint silhouette of them, and you see right through them.
Yeah.
See the chair right through their bodies.
Absolutely amazing.
It's quite an interesting program. The I mean, there are so many different things happening out there. I can't wait to look at more of your photos, and you maybe get some of them up on the site because they're just amazing.
Yeah, we've done some things with John. I've given John a few of them, and before we take off, we're going to get a few more and get them all up so everybody can see.
Great. Sounds good. Hey, well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, James. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
We have anybody else there?
No, brother. I'm it. I'm the last one up here right now.
Hey, well, you can stay on the air if you're the last one up there.
Fantastic.
I was hoping we'd get some of the kids that were here, the younger people that were out there, but, come on the air and talk about, because I saw them just having their minds blown. It was just total transforming for them to actually see.
Yeah, we got a bunch of new people up over the weekend and stuff, so it's really excited to see what happens tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting evening. I hope the skies clear up, because right now I'm seeing some skies that it's kind of crazy. It's very gray up there, hazy. But,
yeah, we got a little work clearing that sky up tonight. I think it's an
if we put our intention on it as a group, we can open a nice big hole and see whatever we want to see here.
Open the sky up.
Yeah, just extend the vortex up and clear the sky and watch ships come in. But
absolutely.
No, I'm looking out here to the west right now, and it's just a beautiful sunset. And I am seeing some clear skies to the west, and that's where this storm came in from. So I think behind this storm, probably another hour or so, because it's not dark until then. Because nothing happens until dark 30 that you can see, basically, other than little specks flying up there.
I looked at the weather, and it looks like I think we're going to be okay. Might not look so great now, but I think when it comes about 10:30, I think it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, we'll be in good shape. Hey, well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, James. Appreciate you.
All righty. I guess that's our last guest from out in the field. I wanted to cover a few more things, kind of update people on what's happening here at the ranch. And for those who just tuned in, welcome to the show, and I hope you're doing okay with these X-class flares that are bearing down on us as we speak, that are geo-effective. They're coming in right on target, so they're directly impacting the Earth right now. Those who are sensitive, as I said before, will feel the gamma rays and the X-rays like within minutes after these things go off. You can feel those if you're sensitive, but later on, when they hit the Earth, after about 2 or 3 days, is when the stream really hits hard. And then when that happens, boy, you see people just going down right and left, and people get all achy and they get headaches and they start spinning and kind of get dizzy, and some people get really irritable and there's a lot of effects coming on. So, but when you know these things are coming in, and you're aware of the situation, you can transcend it. As I said before, Stanford research, when they exposed monkeys to fluctuations in the magnetic fields, they exhibited behavior from comatose to self-mutilation. But we don't have to behave like monkeys. Hopefully we're a little bit beyond that, and we can kind of control our emotions and find an adequate release for those energies when they come up, and don't suppress them, because that's even worse. Let them come up and out. Let them move on out, and you're good. But these energies are going to be intense, and it's not over, folks. This is just the beginning. We are in solar cycle 24. The sun is just revving up like crazy. We're coming into alignment with galactic plane. That's energizing everything, and we're moving into a highly charged place in the universe. So a place where this civilization has not seen, so it's going to get really interesting here. In dealing with this, I'm just wondering how our technology is going to fare through this, because I know people that work on the dams and people who work on the grids, and I've talked to them about it, and they're aware of these situations, and they have power downs and things like that. When this energy comes in, they really put the grid power down and keep it on the lowest streams or settings. So hopefully they're paying attention to these flares, and they're going to do all they can. And I know they've been installing some huge discharge units to just discharge this energy back into the Earth. If we really get whacked hard, but again, it's that old saying, man plans and God laughs, so I don't think eventually we're going to be able to hold up the grid. And I know there's some other technologies out there that are not affected by these coronal mass ejections and things like that. It's a different kind of animal, a different type of energy, and it's the fuelless energy technology. So we need to start getting that out and getting behind it and start supporting these new technologies and get them going, because the old technologies are not going to function. It's like, oh God, in a way, it's like trying to drive a 58 Volkswagen on the Autobahn. It's you're just going to get run over, and it's not going to function too well, and unless you put a whole new Porsche engine in it or something, but the the thing about it is that these old systems are archaic. They're polluting. They're just not they're not sustainable in any way whatsoever. And so we're going to have to start implementing these new energy systems for our transportation and energy needs. And once that comes in, we're not going to have those massive bills, to pay. I want you to just think about this. How much of your paycheck goes to, just gas, just petrol to get your car around? How much does your paycheck go to the grid, for your electric bills or your propane bills or gas bills or, all these bills, all these extras? If you added all that up and then all of a sudden you didn't have to pay it, just think what a bonus that would get. All of a sudden your income would jump up probably 50% with some people. And, there's a 50% rise in your income. So you could just simplify it and start, doing some research into these devices. it would be a no-brainer, to get this going. So the bad news is that there's still a lot of suppressive energies out there to hold this down, but those boys are collapsing. And so the old world order, or the ones that want to call themselves the new world order, are I call them the powers that were. They're collapsing as we speak, and they aren't going to be able to sustain themselves with these new energies. So I saw a good chart one day. Somebody showed me what fifth dimensional energies do to third dimensional energies. It's like they just scatter them. The old denser energies just start scattering, and they have to rise in frequency, and they have to match the Earth's frequency. So the Earth herself is rising to the next level. She's going through a major frequency shift. She's expanding, growing, going to the next level. And if we're going to stay on her, we're going to have to do the same thing. There's no way around it. But these energies are going to be intense when they come in. They're still coming in. It's growing exponentially. And, these are all the prophecies, the rattlesnake prophecies, the Lakota prophecies. All of these prophecies talk about these times. And they talk about an old world collapsing, the beast consuming itself, and a new world coming in, and a reunification with the star nations, which is what this is all about. So it's going to happen. No man can stop it. There are men that are trying to stop it. They will just get a major karmic backlash, and they will put themselves on the downward spiral. They'll be fast tracking into a total collapse. Their empires and their physical bodies as well. There's just no way of getting around this. You can't hide from this energy. There's no saying wherever you are, there, wherever you go, there you are. So the atom itself is altering. Just carbon 12 is becoming carbon 7. It's like all of these things happening. All the genetics are changing on the Earth. There's all these brilliant minds coming in, and golden children and crystal children and indigo children, whatever you want to call them. The veils between worlds are coming down, and the higher dimensional beings are pressing in and adding their consciousness and energy to the mix. So there's really nowhere to go but to surrender the past, release the past, and start focusing on love and joy and bliss, and try to live according to universal law, because this old program is collapsing in on itself. And, it seems like here at ECETI we've been helping to usher that in, because, what I've seen lately, the legal system is about as corrupt as you can get. It's a corporation. It's a money-making corporation. It's a for-profit corporation. And it preys on the people. It doesn't have any justification in the new energies or where things are going. So it's either going to have to completely transform or fold in on itself. And when enough people wake up to what it's all about, it will fold in on itself, just like the banking institutions and everything else. The corruption's going to end. It has to. And it's not sustainable. So these empires that are built on manipulation and corruption and coercion and dishonesty and deception, all these empires are going to be going down, and those who are harmful to humanity, the earth, and those who are participating in these major corporations that are creating war toys and things like that are going to have an experience, because it's not going to be continuing. So why not now? There's that old saying, if not me, who, if not now, when? But why not just shift now? Why not just make that decision? I'm done. I'm done participating in this old program. I want to create a new program. I want to live in harmony with each other and the planet. And I don't want to participate in this nonsense anymore. And when you do that, when enough people do that, it has to change. So it's so important right now for people to just, stand in your truth. Don't agree with the nonsense. Don't participate with the nonsense. And, start living a life in harmony with each other and the planet. And you'll be surprised how fast things transition. And although you might be, have a little birthing pains on letting go of the old world, believe it or not, the new world is just so much more open and loving and supporting that you'll realize, what was I doing? Why was I involved in that? And believe me, I can tell you that from experience, because I went through the system. Went through the schooling, the educational system, went into commercial real estate. I had my own office, people working for me. I had the American dream down. I had the fast cars, the fancy house, everything, the fancy job, board of director on the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, that is another lifetime ago. And then I drowned and had this drowning. I came back ultra sensitive, and I could see everything for what it was. And I went, wow, this all owns me. I don't even know myself, and I don't belong here. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm so glad that experience happened, because when I look back at what I let go of and all the things I gave away, it was the most incredible thing I'd ever done. And now I live a simple life. I try to live a simple life, although I have so many things tugging on me. But, just living a simple life, in a beautiful natural setting, with friends and family, is, working together, cooperating, creating a collective dream. That is so much more important right now than any of the ivory castles, or the positions of power or the wealth, or it really doesn't matter, and one day I think the whole world is going to figure out that they've been enslaved through dependency. They've been, sold a false dream, and that dream is about to come crashing in on everybody. And the things that people do for little green pieces of paper are just amazing. And that's all they are, is little green pieces of paper. And that's about how valuable they are as well. So that's going to all come to an end here one day. So you might as well start focusing your energy in a different direction, because what's of real value is going to come forward.